Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to another episode of the best mods of the week in Baldur's Gate 3's Mod Manager. Another amazing week, and I'm just going to dive right in because there's a huge mod here with the Camp Event Overhaul mod by Hyperspace Towel. Now, if you've played through the game, you've probably went through Act 1 many times. There's probably a lot of events that you've never seen, and this helps you with actually being able to see them. So there's a lot of things that will actually cancel certain camp events from triggering here. There's a lot of situations in general. So like even if you go by the river, you can cancel a bunch of different Ceramorphosis events that you'll have at the camp where you talk about a bunch of different things. There's even moments where Karlach will fantasize about meeting someone that'll work on her heart and help give her that freedom. So you can see this mod lists out a ton of different events that you're actually able to see now, as you may have went to a certain location right at the start of the game and canceled a lot of these. Even things like Astarian's Tasting Party, which is the official name of that event, is easy to miss. It also unlocks some hidden narration that happens around the Ceramorphosis, and it ends up adding a lot of really cool things. And especially for someone that's played through Act 1 many times, you may experience many new experiences with this mod by Hyperspace Towel here. You can install this midway through a playthrough. However, I would not recommend uninstalling it as it adds a bunch of different dialogue resources to trigger these camp events, and there's also some new camp events in this. So this is a huge mod. Just want to start off talking about this. And next up, we actually have a massive mod. This is more so for console players, but also great for PC. Gabe's Fun Pack by Gabe Camamescro, who makes some incredible mods. This has 18 of their mods compiled into one single mod, so you just have to download this. This is great because there is a 100 mod download cap on console. This helps out for console players, but also PC players that like to keep a neat and tidy mod load order. It adds in things like their treasure goblins, like the ones you find in Diablo, where you can fight them, get a bunch of great loot. The Mystic Forge, where you can throw 4 items into a pouch, and then it gives you a random item from the game. Critical Mockery, which I'm going to be covering a bit later. I guess I can just mention it now. Critical Mockery, whenever you land a critical hit, your character will do one of the vicious mockery lines. I think that this is hilarious, so definitely worth checking out. This is included in this one here. Bunch of different mods here. They've done so many great stuff here, so definitely worth checking this out. I am always a huge fan of the Wailing Bards mods, and they just released the Swashbuckler Class, a daring combatant with style and flair. Incredible class mod. Now, you may wonder, why would I play this class mod when there's already the rogue Swashbuckler? Well, this one is in a completely different direction, and it has 7 different subclasses. It is a standalone class that has a bunch of cool abilities with it. Now, the subclasses are somewhat like you think of a Paladin that has their oaths. Well, the Swashbuckler has their code, and yes, it's a little bit more loose than you'd expect from a Paladin. I think this is a cool way to go around role play, and it actually makes use of the panache charges here, so whenever you level up, you get a bunch of different abilities depending on the subclass that you chose. And what's cool is a lot of these different abilities will gather up your panache, which you then use to be able to parry attacks or taunt, or even use dash as a bonus action. So there's a lot of really cool abilities with this. If you want to play someone of like a pirate brawler, you got this one here, which you can expend your panache charges bonus actions to do a couple quick punches with different kicks and things like that as well. So yeah, I think I'll be covering this in a future video because I like a lot of the Wailing Bards mods, and I think this is a very cool one. So really awesome. We also got the Oath of Noble Genies. This is a Unearthed Arcana mod, which is released in 2025. This mod was made by Derugo here. And this adds a new Paladin subclass. There's actually a few different Paladin mods we'll be covering today. So with this one, you do get to choose which type of dialogue that you want to add, or if you don't want to add any dialogue at all. Now, you can wear light armor and add your charisma modifier on top of it, which I think is a really interesting way for a tanky Paladin. You also get the ability Elemental Smite, so after you do your Divine Smite, you can choose from one of these abilities here using your Channel Oath charge. So you can restrain a target, deal additional 4 to 16 fire damage, knock them prone and push them away, or make yourself turn into like a gaseous form, getting a teleport, and you cannot be grappled, prone, or restrained. So some pretty cool abilities here. You also then have your Aura of Elemental Shielding. You can choose this to give resistance to a specific type of damage, and all allies within 3 meters will also get that. So this is great for people that want to strategize against certain areas of the game with like fire damage. You also get a cool ability with the Elemental Rebuke, so you can choose an elemental damage type and respond with that. You also get the Elemental Rebuke Shield, so when you're hit with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to half the attack's damage against yourself, and then come back with yourself Elemental Rebuke. Level 17 gives you a very powerful ability with the, you can choose one of 4 spells: Flame Strike, Cone of Cold, Wall of Stone, or Destructive Wave. Destructive Wave is normally a Paladin spell, so that's really cool. And then level 20, you get to choose between using your Noble Scion form there, which allows you to fly. You got Minor Wish there, giving your success in ability checks and a bunch of other cool abilities here. So I just want to highlight this one. And also the Oath of the Divine Tempest Paladin by Shadow Radiance. So this is a storm-based Paladin. I think this is quite interesting, and they made this class for their dad. So I think that is also quite wholesome. You get a special ability here with the Tempest Slash, which uses your Channel Oath to do additional damage, and this scales up as you continue to level. You also get the Storm's Wrath bonus action, doing a 1d12 damage and lightning, and shout out and strike all enemies nearby with the Fury of Nature. You also get the Crown Paladin's Turn the Tide ability here, and a few other things as you continue to level up. You also get a Riposte at level 7, which allows you to do Booming Blade at the enemy, and you also get more Channel Oath charges, and you get Lightning Bolt and Stunning Bolt at level 9, Shadow Elemental spells. Pretty cool stuff. I think this is nice. I like Elemental classes, and I like Paladin, so again, both of these have specializations in both of that. It's really cool. So yeah, we also have the Granny's Rings Immersive mod here by _Sem. Now, this covers a bunch of different mods, or a bunch of different equipment. There's many other mods similar to this that they've made with a lot of other equipment. We just finally got one on console recently, but if you've seen like Granny's weapon packs, armor packs, Granny crowns, we now have the immersive ring pack. So this is pretty cool. Like some of them here turns you invisible, and on your next turn you can cast Misty Step, which will break your invisibility. We also have things that gives you a bonus +1 to range spell attacks. Rejuvenated Miasma as a class action. So some of them are strong, some of them are balanced. The immersive ones are mostly going to be within the limits of Baldur's Gate 3 in power. You can also get a ring that gives you the Resonance Stone ability, which is cool because it's literally an item you can just put in your pouch. This is like, it's kind of cool you can give this to yourself because being able to double the psychic damage is crazy. Ring of Rage how you want to rage. This gives you 3 rage charges, and all of the rages are branded. Unlock endless rage, so you can choose what type of rage that you want to do. Kind of cool. Yeah, a lot of different abilities here. And they have separate groups here, so like ring of +1, +2, +3, proficiency, saving throws. Yeah, there's a lot of rings and pretty cool stuff. Next up, we got the Sharraith outfit, Shadowforged armor set here by Barry Semifreddo. Now, this actually released the week prior, but I didn't see it. For some reason, sometimes mods don't appear in the mod manager, but this outfit looks amazing. Now, the 2 different variations are on the character here. My character is wearing one that I dyed white with the Faerun Colors mod. There's a pure white dye. I think it looks nice. It does give your body that darkened effect there. Shadowheart has the other outfit on. I think these outfits look really cool. So yeah, I'm a big fan. They've made a lot of other outfit mods that I think just look great. So the Sharraith Shadowforged armor set mod. And next up, we got Randomized Equipment Loot Fork by GT Sune. This is basically the random equipment loot mod. Just a fork of it, so it just randomizes all loot in game without adding in the Ancient Mega Pack as well. So the Ancient Mega Pack and Ariel, this is made by Paramanov. They've done such a fantastic job. I actually just made a video a couple weeks ago covering their latest update to the Ancient Mega Pack, which offers new crafting mechanics. So you can check that video out if you want a little bit more information. This just adds random equipment loot. Pretty cool stuff. Next up, we actually have a lot of rework mods. We've been seeing these pop up, and I think they're awesome since some of the classes, especially if you're playing through the game multiple times, maybe you want to use like closer to the 2024 rule set. So this adds a bunch of changes to the classes and to their subclasses. You can pause this if you want to read through it. There is quite a bit of different changes. Some of the ones that I really like. At level 7, you get the Blessed Strikes. You can choose between the Divine Strike or the Potent Spellcasting that would add your Wisdom modifier to cantrips. I prefer Divine Strike and using a hand crossbow. That just ends up being a higher overall damage. This allows you to do that, and you can actually add the damage as Radiant or Necrotic. This is even better because Radiant damage is really great as it scales and applies Radiating Orbs with a lot of different gear. So that's really cool to be able to get a bonus action ability for that. And it also scales with the Blessed Strike. So at level 14, the damage will scale to a 2d8 instead of the 1d8 normally. And then whenever you hit targets with cantrips, you actually heal for temporary health to your allies. So that's actually another really interesting way to not only damage, but support your team. Life Cleric gets the Supreme Healing at level 17. Whenever they cast a healing spell, the target will get the maximum healing roll. Light Cleric gets the ability to blast a huge area, giving disadvantage on saving throws against Radiance of the Dawn and any other spell that deals fire or radiant damage. And then also I like with the War Domain Cleric here, it changes Flame Strike at level 5, or level 5 spell slot. You don't get Flame Strike anymore, you get Steel Wind Strike, which is a very powerful spell, but it fits more in alignment with how the War Domain Cleric should play. And a really nice buff for the Death Domain Cleric at level 17. Their Necromancy spells cast level 5 or lower can actually be applied to another creature, so you can hit 2 targets with a Blight, which is actually really nice too. And Bad to the Bard also made the Rogue Rework here, which also adds in the Water Witch 83's Phantom Rogue subclass. They unfortunately stopped updating it, so they made it compatible with existing mod. And then they also made a bunch of changes to how the Rogue works. I've been vocal that the Rogue is unfortunately not as good as some of the other classes in Baldur's Gate 3. Of course, you can beat the game with the Arcane Trickster Rogue, no problem, especially if you're really good at gaming. But for the average player, playing as a Rogue is going to limit the amount of effectiveness they may have in combat, despite them being fantastic outside of combat. They're just a little bit better in terms of like D&D versus the video game experience. But Uncanny Dodge is now going to be an interrupted reaction versus the weird toggleable passive thing, which I think is a nice change. And it adds the Stroke of Luck at level 20, which is a really good thing for the Rogue because this gives them the ability to turn a failed roll into a critical success. The Arcane Trickster needs some changes, and this allows them to get all wizard spells. Amazing. They also get the adjusted Mage Hand Legerdemain here, which allows you to cast as a bonus action, and it'll only be ended by the player and will otherwise remain invisible, which is great for scouting around. You also get the Magical Ambush, which will allow you to get the advantage on a spell roll whenever you're invisible and not hiding. And then you also get the Versatile Trickster, so after using a trip action of your Cunning Strike, you can have your Mage Hand also trip a nearby creature, which I think is also pretty nice. And you also get the Spell Thief at level 17. When a creature casts a spell targeting you of any level, you can possibly end that spell's casting. If you succeed, you're then able to cast that spell once for free. This does not need to be one you know. This is a really cool ability. So this also amps up the Arcane Trickster, much like it amps up the Death Domain Cleric. It makes them actually a very powerful subclass. There's a lot of cool other abilities here. You can pause this here if you want to read through. The Assassin gets a lot of more bursty damage options, like you can assassinate targets. The Thief is more so like dexterous, and you get the ability to get an extra action at level 17. And here's all the Phantom Rogue stuff. Pretty cool stuff by Bad to the Bard. We got a lot of different features that add some other stuff to subclasses in the game. Now we got the Arcane Archer Plus here by Clut69. This allows you to get some extra abilities onto the Arcane Archer Fighter subclass. You get the Swift Shots here, which allows you to do bonus action attacks. So you can do these to do 1d6. It uses your Arcane Swiftness charges, which are replenishable on long rest there. You also then get the ability to add passive 1d4 of force damage to your shots. It's the Arcane Proficiency. Morphic arrows that deal 1 piercing, bludgeoning, and slashing target. You can also add additional Psychic Radiant or Necrotic damage. This is based off of your intelligence, your wisdom, and your charisma modifier. So it actually is important for you, if you wanted to actually dip into all of your mental stats. It's kind of an interesting concept, but yeah, that's a cool one. We also got the Necromancer with Winton here. So with this one, Necromancy, this actually gives you a really cool ability with Glut's Animating Spores. Necromancy is good in Baldur's Gate 3, but it's kind of tedious. This just makes it a lot more powerful without being like game-breakingly broken. You get the Glut's Animating Spores, which allows you to turn pretty much anything into your companion. I think it's really cool, but they want to put this out. Could be potential bug fixes, but they want to get this out before Spooky Month. So yeah, Halloween's coming. I just wanted to cover this one quickly here. And next up, we got the Better Starting Equipment by Chizfree. They made a lot of fantastic mods. I don't typically use these mods, as I've had difficulties with them in the past. For some reason, with some of these mods, they actually interrupt certain subclass features from appearing. I don't know if this one does have that, but I know from the past I've had some issues with that. So just a heads up for those. But this gives you different items that you'll start your character off with whenever you go to like start a new playthrough. So for the Bard, they get a second-hand crossbow. Barbarian gets an additional Great Club. Cleric gets an additional spear and an additional light crossbow, and the shield is now a metal one. Fighters get the chainmail instead of scale mail, so they get heavy armor to start with. Also get a great sword and a morning star and a short sword. Monks get 2 additional daggers to throw. Paladins get an additional long sword and a light crossbow. They also get different armors. So yeah, or the armor class value is changed to the chainmail values. I think this is a pretty interesting mod, though. Just want to highlight this one. And here's something that I will definitely be using a lot of with the RS Black and Gold Piercings by Remotely Sane. And this is what it looks like. I like to use a lot of the vanilla piercings, so this just makes it so they're black or gold. And I think that there's actually a lot of really nice piercings in the base game. So being able to just have a different version of them that looks really nice is cool. So yeah, definitely recommend checking this one out because yeah, you can see it here. It's nice. Not a huge overhaul or a huge change by any means, but doesn't need to be. And sometimes just little changes like this are just more than enough. You know, some things in the world are constants. Shrimp is bugs, us is cat. This is made by Pumpkin Bat here. This allows you, whenever you summon in us, you can make him look like a little kitty there. So it's pretty cool. What's funny is the townsfolk of Baldur's Gate will actually refer to us as a cat, as it is projecting an image of a cat to others. This allows you to also see that same image. Next up, we got the True Draconic Sorcerer mod by Shadow Radiance here. Now, this adds some more melee focus abilities to the Draconic Sorcerer, which I think is just interesting. I want to highlight because being able to do Dragon Fangs or Dragon Claws as a Draconic Sorcerer is pretty metal. So this changes a lot of different features of Draconic Sorcerers, and this allows you to breathe fire, bite, have claws. You get additional armor class, 10 plus dexterity plus charisma modifier. Dragon Claws, Dragon Scales, which will scale up, Dragon Fangs, and then you also get Chromatic Orb and Shield spells. Breath at level 2 does a 5d4 damage and scales by 1d4 every 2 levels. And you also get the ability to do this with an extra attack, so you can do a breath and then an attack, which is pretty sweet. You also get Misty Step and a few other abilities, so pretty cool stuff. And next up, we get the Homie D Withers. Now, I thought this was a One Piece reference at first, but it's not. This is actually a really old show. This allows you to, basically, whenever you steal from Withers, he will beat you up, he'll take your money, he'll mock you by making you wear clown, or he'll wear clown makeup, and then the only way you get back is you have to apologize to him. So, simple mod. I thought it was pretty funny by Gabe Camamescro here. And next up, we got the Cheater's Book of Druid Armours by Incognito Burrito. Now, they have the Book of Druid mod, which adds in the subclasses there. This adds in some armor that I think is really cool. So, I really like the subclass ability here with the Grove Tender. So whenever you have a summon within 3 meters of the area, it becomes difficult terrain. So your nature spirits cause vines and roots to spread around. I think it's really cool. You can purchase these from like Hellsick, but this one will also add it to the tutorial chest. So you can get these from just downloading their Book of Sorcerer mod. I just want to quickly highlight this because I really like the Book of Sorcerer or Book of Druids, which is now available on console too. And next up is the Enhanced Coatings mod by Sapient Star Stuff. So when you use a coating, it coats both your melee and your ranged weapons, and they'll last until the next long rest, and they're not consumed when used. There's a cleaning cloth for your weapons so you can remove them, and there's 4 coating pouches in the tutorial chest. Think about from Aaron or Grat in Act 1, and those are their locations. Pretty cool stuff. I think coatings is something that's super underrated in games, and especially so in Baldur's Gate 3, because it's almost annoying just to apply them. This now is reusable with all equipped weapons until long rest. Bonus coating pouch. Cool stuff here. Next up, we got the Avernus Seductress Bodysuit here by Chunyu. Now, this adds in an outfit to the game here, and this is what it looks like here, and you can also get it dyed a few different colors. So, yeah, this mod here by Chunyu. It'll pair with the Angelic Scion body if not worn by someone that can actually wear it properly. It's for body type 1. And next up, we got the Rage Anywheres by Zero Nix. I'm hulking out. This allows you to rage outside of combat. I like this because sometimes it just feels weird that you're not able to actually rage only when you're in combat. This is great, especially if you want to test out some different things when playing a barbarian. And next up, we got this is actually a funny one, Interrupted Music Performer Fixer by Airy Fell. Now, there's actually a very specific reason why they used Minthara on here. So basically what happens is whenever you are, performing music as one does as a bard, whenever a paladin comes near, their aura will actually stop you from playing music sometimes. And yeah, this just means Minthara hates playing music. She shuts that shit down real quick. With this mod, however, Minthara does not hate music anymore, so she is more than welcome to come join the party without scaring anyone off. The Paladin aura doesn't give everyone the heebie-jeebies and end up getting out of there, so there's a really cool mod. Just want to highlight this one. Next up, and finally, we got the add-on Long Hair Florrick NPC Waukreens Rest by Azazel Was Taken. I covered this mod previously. They added a whole redesign of all the different characters in Waukreens Rest. They've done a lot of other things. I love these mods. Just want to highlight this one here, which now gives Florrick some long hair. So yeah, right there, pretty cool stuff. Yeah, a lot of mods released this week. This has been an incredible one. So let me know which of these is your favorite in the comments. I'm a huge fan of the camp event Overhaul. I think this is a really awesome mod, but I'm curious to hear yours. So feel free to leave it in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already. Hope you have a great day, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.